ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम तत्सत्। श्री रामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
Thank you, my dear student. Now may I request all the dignitaries, Brahmachari Videsha Chaitanya Maharaj, Professor P.G. Dhar Chakraborty, Dr. Kollan Rudra, Professor Pavitra Bonik, and Professor Devojit Dotto from Jadavpur University to come up to the dais. So we will begin our next part program, that is the felicitation of the guest, Otithi Deva Bhava. In Ramakrishna Mission custom, we used to offer our gratitude and respect to our guest. So today our guest, the keynote address who will be given, Dr. Kollan Rudra, former chairman, West Bengal Pollution Control Board. May I request our student to felicitate the keynote speaker of today's inaugural function, the national workshop, with flower bouquet and sapling. And may I request Brahmachari Videsha Chaitanya Maharaj to hand over the flower bouquet, and our student will hand over the sapling. So now this part is over. Now it is the time to formally welcome to delegates and all the students, and also to tune the objective of this national workshop on urban environment of Kolkata, problem and prospect. So may I request Professor P.G. Dhar Chakraborty, Professor Emeritus, School of Environment and Disaster Management, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, for welcome address.
So very good morning to all of you. So it's my privilege to welcome our chief guest. Actually, Honorable Minister for Urban Development was supposed to come here as a chief guest, but she told us that due to she had to go to Baruipur with the chief minister, and she told us to start the proceedings, and if she's time is available, she may come and join anytime. So we welcome Dr. Kollan Rudra, former chairman of the West Bengal Pollution Control Board, a very noted environmentalist, environmental geographist, a river expert who worked on the environment of West Bengal, of Kolkata in particular, for a long time. So it is our very privilege to have him here as our chief guest today. So I welcome our Dr. Pavitra Bonik. He is the Dean of this center. I welcome Brahmachari. Also, Maharaj is here. I welcome here. He is representing the university here. He is the assistant administrative head here. I welcome also Devajit Mitra, who is Dr. Devajit Mitra, who is the Devajit Datta, who is the head of the Department of Geography of Jadavpur University. So I welcome all these participants who have registered here, offline, online, who are attending it, and welcome all my faculty members and students here. So we have assembled here this workshop to discuss the issues of urban environment of Kolkata. And this workshop is being organized by the School of Environmental Disaster Management of this RKM Berry in collaboration with School of Planning Architecture, New Delhi, and Jadavpur University, Kolkata. So here we all know that, the city of Calcutta, where we live, or we had our education, or we are associated with that, Calcutta or the greater Calcutta, whatever it is. It has a long checkered history of nearly 350 years, starting from the end of 17th century. And the Calcutta, it was the colonial capital of India. It was also the imperial capital of the British India. And it was also the capital of the Indian Renaissance movement, Reformation movement. It was the capital of our freedom movement. And it was the capital of India till 1911. So it was, at one time, it was also the economic capital, because all the banks and other commercial institutions of India were located in Calcutta, and the British were ruling our country. So it was the political capital, it was also the economic capital, and it was obviously also the cultural capital. But the political capital of India, it shifted from Kolkata to Delhi in 1911. The economic capital also gradually shifted from Kolkata to Bombay, but Calcutta still remains the cultural capital of India. So Calcutta is a very, very enigmatic city. Those who have passed by Calcutta by a few hours, probably they don't like Calcutta because of the congestions and other problems. Those who have lived in Calcutta for some time, they love Calcutta. James Lang, he described in the early 19th century, Calcutta as a city of palaces. Rudyard Kipling, he described Calcutta in his book in 1888, the city of the dreadful nights. And you see, Dominique Lapierre, he wrote somewhere in 1985, the city of joy. So it is a city of procession. It is a city of inclusiveness, cosmopolitan city. Somebody said it is a laissez-faire city. So city where you can do anything. Anybody can do anything in this city where there is no regulation, nothing. But still, Calcutta is Calcutta. It is our Calcutta. Okay. So the Calcutta, it has grown organically. It is not a planned city. Unlike Delhi or other places, it is not a planned city. It has grown on its own. And through its phases, Calcutta has grown in its own way, spatially as also demographically. And Calcutta city, it is endowed with very rich natural resources. It has River Ganga on the west, the East Calcutta wetland on the east, which acted as a kind of a natural buffer for the flood protection, and also as a natural wastewater management system, acted in that. Calcutta had a green cover. Sometimes, about 40% of the Calcutta, greater Calcutta had a green cover. Calcutta had abundant water resources, terrestrial, surface, or even groundwater. Calcutta had wonderful climate. It was not very, very moderate climate, where you find all the seasons of the year, the summer, the monsoon, the autumn, winter, and the spring. All the seasons of the year are beautifully, they are presented in Calcutta. And you kind of seasonal variation you hardly find in any other city in India, where there are very harsh climate. But the seasonal changes that happen in Calcutta is something very unique. So these Calcutta, which are endowed with so much of natural resources, in fact, is now facing a silent environmental crisis, which we are not witnessing, but which are quite apparent and which are going to take a very serious, shape unless we try to analyze this very seriously and try to take appropriate measures for protection of our environment. Calcutta's air is polluted. It is not only the particle materials, but also the various gaseous materials, some places. Sometimes it is very poisonous in some parts of Calcutta. The water resources of Calcutta, it is getting contaminated. The groundwater resources are getting depleted, contaminated. And also the East Calcutta wetlands, which was the Ramsar site declared in 2002, it is also getting encroached. It is getting resources and then getting polluted not only, but also it is getting encroached. So I think all these issues are a matter of very serious concern, and there have been studies going on these environmental issues, and we have selected 8 environmental issues of Kolkata. Land, how the land use is changing and impacting on the environment in Kolkata. The second, the air, how Kolkata's atmosphere is getting polluted, what are the different dimensions of that. And water, what are the water resources, how water is getting polluted, the surface water, the groundwater, and also looking into the waste that is being generated in the city, the solid waste and also the wastewater. So how the solid waste is managed, how the wastewater is being treated here, the Calcutta's drainage system, which is very antiquated, which is not able to drain off the water, leading to flooding at various places. We have the problems of the flood. So, and this Calcutta's, this green ecology, the green resources of Kolkata, green infrastructure of Kolkata, the wetlands, ponds, others, what are the conditions of those? And how climate change is impacting on Kolkata, the urban heat island effect, the sea level rise in Sundarban. What is going to be the impact on Kolkata? So there are a lot of projections that if there is sea level rises, parts of Calcutta, maybe the greater Calcutta, may be submerged. So there are a lot of studies on that. So all these issues, the 8 environmental issues of land, air, water, waste, drainage and flooding, and climate change, and the green and the ecology of Kolkata. The 8 environmental issues and how all these issues are impacting on the health of the citizens, the environmental health of Kolkata. So the 8 different issues that we will be discussing. So all these issues are nothing new. There have been a lot of studies going on, but unfortunately we have been discussing the issues in silos. In silos, all these 8 issues, but we are hardly discussing how this one issue is impacting on the other. What is the nexus of these issues? And how this nexus is creating a problem, environmental problem. And also the regional issues. Calcutta, we cannot take Calcutta in isolation of the larger regional context. Because Calcutta is receiving a lot of population which are migrating. Many skilled labor force from Calcutta are migrating to Hyderabad, Bangalore, other places, Delhi, other places. Unskilled labor force from the hinterland, they are coming as laborer in Calcutta. So that is a problem. So the regional issues, how the regional environment is impacting on Kolkata city. That is also something to be discussed. So in this workshop, what we will be doing is that we have structured the workshop in 8 technical sessions on all these 8 issues: land, air, water, solid waste, drainage and flooding, then the ecology and climate change, and the health, urban environmental health. We'll be discussing it to see how these are impacting and interacting with each other, what is the nexus of that, and how these problems, what is the genesis of the problem, what is the magnitude of the problem, and how we're going to redress the problem? What are the solutions here? So these larger issues are also connected with the issues of environmental governance. The environmental governance is a critical issue, so we will follow it up with another conference to exclusively discuss the issues of urban environmental governance, which is a matter of very critical concern. So I think with this brief introductory remarks, I welcome you again and looking forward for a very meaningful interaction. Initially, we had scheduled this meeting on 6th and 7th, but since 6th was declared as a holiday, so we had to postpone it by a very short notice. And that led to some of the, people who registered earlier, they canceled it. Some of the speakers who had originally confirmed that they will be coming. So we had to reschedule it hurriedly, leading to some discomfort for somebody. So I hope that you will all enjoy the discussion and participate it very actively. And as it progresses, more participants will enjoy, and we'll have a very lovely discussion. So with this brief introductory remark, I welcome you once again to this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for a beautifully he has given the objective and why he has chosen this topic. And as I have already told, he is the main architect of this particular national workshop. And as you know, in Bengali, one proverbs are there that Andher Hosti Darshan. So in Kolkata, we are having so many different types of problem, as sir has mentioned very nicely. Different people, they are working on different issues, but their coordination, we are lagging behind of that coordination. And that is why this type of workshop is essential. So nicely he has given, and probably you have enriched with the theme of the workshop. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Now may I request Brahmachari Vedesha Jaitanyaji Maharaj for his opening remarks.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. I offer my Shashtanga pranams at the holy feet of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, whose lives continue to inspire humanity towards harmony, service, wisdom, and the realization of the divinity inherent in all beings. Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, esteemed resource persons, delegates, faculty members, researchers, and students. It is my privilege on behalf of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute to extend my heartfelt greetings to all of you on the occasion of this national workshop on urban environment of Kolkata, problems and prospects. I also express our sincere regards to our collaborating institutions, the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and Jadavpur University, Kolkata, for joining hands in organizing this important academic event. I have been asked to give the opening remarks. Already Dr. Dhar Chakraborty has delineated very nicely the schemes of this workshop. Friends, cities have always been centers of civilization, innovation, culture, and economic growth. Yet they also present some of the most complex environmental challenges of our time. Kolkata, one of India's oldest metropolitan cities, is a living example of this duality. It possesses a rich cultural heritage, already Dr. Dhar Chakraborty has mentioned, vibrant social life, remarkable resilience, and immense intellectual capital. At the same time, it faces pressing environmental concerns: air and water pollution, waste management, degradation of wetlands, urban flooding, loss of green spaces, climate vulnerability, traffic congestion, and the challenge of ensuring environmental justice amidst rapid urbanization. The objective of this workshop is not merely to identify these problems, but to collectively explore sustainable, scientifically informed, and socially inclusive pathways for the future. I am hopeful that over the next 2 days, the deliberations by eminent speakers, experts, planners, environmental scientists, policymakers, and young researchers will generate valuable insights and practical recommendations. At Arcanberry, however, we believe that environmental sustainability cannot be viewed only through the lenses of science, technology, economics, or policy. It must also be rooted in values. Every environmental crisis is, in some measure, a reflection of a crisis in human consciousness. When our relationship with nature becomes one of exploitation rather than reverence, ecological imbalance inevitably follows. The wisdom of our ancient scriptures reminds us of this deeper relationship. The Ishopanishad, one of 108 Upanishads, begins with the profound declaration, Ishabhasya midagga sarvayat kincha jagatyan jagata. All this, whatever exists in this moving universe, is enveloped by the divine. This is the meaning of this verse. When we perceive the entire universe as sacred, the environment ceases to be merely a resource to be consumed. Rather, it becomes a trust to be protected and nurtured. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us the principle of mutual sustenance. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyatha. Nourish the forces that sustain the world, and they in turn will sustain you. Thus, supporting one another, you shall attain the highest welfare. This timeless principle of reciprocity is perhaps more relevant today than ever before. Sustainable development is not simply about balancing environmental, economic, and social dimensions. It is about restoring harmony between humanity and nature. Swami Vivekananda repeatedly reminded us of the unity of existence. He said, quote, "Whole of this universe, there is but one existence. And that one existence, when seen through the senses, is called the world, and the world of matter," unquote. When we truly realize this oneness, environmental stewardship becomes a natural expression of our spiritual awareness. Caring for rivers, forests, wetlands, biodiversity, and urban ecosystems is not merely an ecological obligation. It is an act of reverence towards the divine manifest in creation. As we deliberate on the future of Kolkata's urban environment, may we therefore integrate scientific excellence with ethical responsibility, technological innovation with compassion, and policy with values. Only then can our cities become not merely smart or sustainable, but truly human. I once again extend my sincere gratitude to all the distinguished speakers, participants, collaborating institutions, organizing committee members, faculty, colleagues, scholars, students, and support staff whose efforts have made this workshop possible. May the deliberations over these 2 days be enriching, inspiring, and fruitful, leading to meaningful collaborations and actionable outcomes for the betterment of our society and environment. With these words, I pray for the success of this national workshop. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
It is customary in our system, the system of Ramakrishna Mission, we don't say thanks to any person who is in the order of Ramakrishna Dev. We used to offer our pranam to the Maharaj for his kind word, and very beautifully he has expressed the objective, though Professor Dhar Chakraborty already told, but he has explained the legacy of our ancient time and the present day situation, how they are going hand to hand. So on my personal behalf and on behalf of all the participants and dear students, we offer our respectful pranam to Brahmachari Vedesa Chaitanya Ji Maharaj for his kind word. Now it's time to go for the keynote address. It's my golden opportunity to introduce among you the keynote speaker of this day, in this inaugural session, Dr. Koldan Rudra. The name is enough to introduce Dr. Rudra. Those who are dealing with environment and river and particularly geography and map of West Bengal, they definitely know about Dr. Rudra. Recently, I took this opportunity in this particular occasion to show you one very recent book of Dr. Rudra, that is Banglar Samriddhi Sotodhara o ঔপনিবেশিক অবক্ষয়. Recently, I have studied this. It's an excellent compilation written by Dr. Rudra. I'm not going into detail of all this biodata of him. It's not be justified. Only one thing I can say: in 2023, that means 223, he has received a DSc degree from Sidhu Kanu University, Purulia, and he is renowned expert in river and the map, the Bengal Atlas, one of his latest creation. And this morning we were discussing together that he is talking about that very recently he is going to publish the revised version of Bengal Atlas. So it's a huge, and in this national workshop, it's our great privilege to have a person like Dr. Rudra. Without much delay, may I request Dr. Koldan Rudra for his keynote address in this national workshop on urban environment of Kolkata, problem and prospect. Dr. Rudra, please.
আপনি জাস্ট ব্যাকে খোলা আছে, আপনি বললেন ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। Respected dignitaries who had been in this dais and those are already off the dais, very good morning and namaskar. I can also see some of my best friends here, Abhijit at that corner, formerly of Shah Institute of Nuclear, Professor Bonik, and the anchor who had been speaking much about me. যাতে সবটা কানে গেলে আমার লজ্জায় মুখ লাল হয়ে যেত। Anyway, I am requested by Professor Dhar Chakraborty to speak on Kolkata's environment. And when I looked at the other speaker, sir, you have identified 8 issues. And I have also seen some of the leading experts of Kolkata will speak on different issues. So considering the time constraint and overlapping, I will concentrate on what are the recent challenges that we are going to encounter living in Kolkata, which are least addressed so far. So before going to that in detail, I will speak about 10-15 minutes, and then I will have a few slides that will quickly help the students to understand what I am going to speak. Kolkata evolved as a, sir, you have rightly said, to a metropolitan city from 3 sleepy villages, Sutanoti, a market of cotton thread, Suturhat, and then Govindapur, it was a rice go down, and Kolkata, a big market at that point of time, all along the bank of the Hooghly River. And to a port industrial city, it took about more than 3 centuries. The port metropolis developed on a land which was largely premature, not livable at all. At that point of time, about 1/3 of the Kolkata was largely a swamp. So history of making Kolkata is largely the history of what we call desiccation or Shushkayoner Itihas. In the 17th century, about early 70s, 1/3 of the Kolkata, I have told it was swamp. So reclamation of the land was a serious challenge to making it livable. I was reading a book, it's very interesting. W.H. Carey in 1907, he collected reports from different newspapers and wrote a book. I quote at least 4 points from this, how Kolkata looked like in the early 17th century. He said, quote, the banks of the Hooghly was lined on either side of the fort, মানে Fort William line ধরে, with large handsome houses built and inhabited by the English. সাহেবরা তখন নদীর পাড়ে ফোর্ট উইলিয়ামের ধারে তাদের বিউটিফুল বাড়ি তৈরি করে ফেলেছে। In the year were several equally large imposing habitations belonging to the Babus of Kolkata. কলকাতা যারা সম্পন্ন জমিদার ঠিক তার পরের লাইনে তারা থাকতেন। In the third row, the native town consisted of thatched houses, some composed of mud and other bamboos, and some mats. All roads are mean, unhealthy, and narrow. সবচেয়ে ইন্টারেস্টিং জায়গা হচ্ছে চৌরঙ্গি সম্বন্ধে উনি বলছেন, the tract now covered by the palaces of Chourangi, they contain only a few miserable huts, thatched with straw, a jungle abundant with waterfowls and alligators. চৌরঙ্গিতে তখন কুমির ঘুরে বেড়াচ্ছে, এরকম একটা অবস্থা থেকে কলকাতা বিল্ট আপ হচ্ছে। ফলে ইনিশিয়ালি কলকাতা ওয়াজ নট হ্যাবিটেবল অ্যাট অল। You have already read, I believe many students have also read, that ঈশ্বর গুপ্ত লিখলেন রেতে মশা দিনে মাছি এই নিয়ে কলকাতায় আছি। Probably, I don't know how many of my students have so far read রামতনু লাহিড়ী ও তৎকালীন বঙ্গ সমাজ। রামতনু লাহিড়ী 1813 to 1898, সে তার সম্বন্ধে লিখছেন শিবনাথ শাস্ত্রী। সেখানে কলকাতার একটা ছোট্ট ডেসক্রিপশন আমি একটুখানি পড়ছি। তখন কলকাতায় জলের কল ছিল না, পচা দুর্গন্ধময় জলপূর্ণ পুষ্করিণীতে কলকাতা পূর্ণ ছিল। এখানকার ফুটপাতের পরিবর্তে প্রত্যেক রাজপথের পার্শ্বে কর্দম ও পঙ্কে পরিপূর্ণ নর্দমা ছিল। এই সকল নর্দমা হইতে যে দুর্গন্ধ উঠিত তাহাকে বর্ধিত ও ঘনীভূত করিবার জন্য যেন প্রতি গৃহের পার্শ্বেই এক একটি করে শৌচাগার ছিল। যেমন আমরা কলকাতার খালপাড়ের স্লামগুলোতে দেখি, অনেকটা কলকাতার অবস্থা সেই রকম। এই অবস্থাটা থেকে কলকাতা started to grow. It is locationally an interfluve. Interfluve means দুটো নদীর মাঝখানে যে জায়গাটা। On the west it was Hooghly River, relatively high bank, and then a narrow imperceptible slope towards east to East Calcutta wetland. And then there is a river called Kultigang. In between there was a large swamp which nowadays we call East Kolkata wetland. So initial first canal of the Kolkata was Maratha ditch. আপনারা জানেন, it was not excavated by British. It was by Alibordi in 1753, more or less along the circular road from Shambazar থেকে বেগবাগান পর্যন্ত এইটা। It was subsequently filled up. এটা filled up হলো, কিন্তু when they started to develop Kolkata, they realized that main task is to the drainage problem of the Kolkata. So they excavated a series of east flowing and west flowing canal. East flowing canals had another intention, connecting it with East Bengal and Sundarban. When I was coming here, near Goria, I find the Tolis Nala. Tolis Nala connected actually from Goria to Shamukpota, Piddadhuri and Adiganga. The initial আপনি এখন দেখতে পাবেন। So initial actually after industrial revolution, the British setting. Why? Because this land was low, having a height along the west side about 6 and about 2 meters along the eastern side. So if you draw a line from Strand Road to Ghusighata, it is about 23 kilometers. So Kolkata is actually a basin when both the rivers are at tide. This is a tidal river. Both the rivers are tidal river. Tidal fluctuation may be 5 meters, 4 to 5 meters. Low tide and high tide. So whenever it is in full, bank full, so the adjoining land is lower than the. So it is a difficult challenge to the drainage. So they excavated Biliaghata Canal in 1810. আমি ছবিতে একটু দেখালে আপনাদের ছেলে মেয়েদের বুঝতে সুবিধা হবে। একটু এখানে একটু আমি খুব কুইকলি এগুলো দেখিয়ে নেবো আপনাদের। This is Kolkata. You can see canal ছবিটা একটা নিচের দিকে আমি করে নেবো। Look at this. এই ক্যানাল, এবার ক্যানাল করেও জল বের করা was extremely difficult task because a canal having 2 types of slope. One is topographic slope. The city does not have any topographic slope. Another is hydraulic slope. Hydraulic slope, when the Kultigang is on tide also, you can't also create hydraulic gradient. So we need pumping stations. কিন্তু পাম্প তো করবেন, জলটা ফেলবেন কোথায়? Initially we had a wetland which had been a natural sink, but when we built up the city of Salt Lake and subsequently New Town, we encroached upon about 100 square kilometer wetland. Fortunately, in 2006, by East Kolkata Wetland Act, we tried to protect East Kolkata wetland about 12,500 square hectare. মানে 125 square kilometer area is not necessarily wetland. Wetland is about 4,000 hectares or so. So remaining buffer area was also protected. Then the Bhangur Khal, Newcut Khal, Circular Khal, and Krishnapur canals, all flowing towards the east. And there are some west flowing canal also, like Begor Khal, Muni Khal, Chorial Khal, that goes towards the west. So, but this city is extremely vulnerable under the climate change scenario. Sir, you have identified rightly 8 points. So what I was looking at, what are the environmental challenges? Definitely, air quality is one of the priority for us. And I am happy to announce here that when we started to work about the air quality of the Kolkata, when Kolkata was declared as one of the non-attainment city, and Government of India published a long list of 130 cities where air quality is not fit for breathing. In 2019, it was said that keeping in view the air quality of 2017 as baseline, you will have to reduce the air quality by, improve the air quality by about 40% within 2026. So I had been at that point of time in pollution control board. We started to work at that point of time. The particulate matter, particularly PM10, was 147 microgram per cubic meter. When I left pollution control board last year, it was about 94. Target was given to 88. But when we look at any environmental problem, it does not recognize the political or administrative boundary. So we'll have to work regionally. Now the new concept is Indo-Gangetic Airshed Management Plan. So I will not speak on this. My friend Abhijit is coming. He will speak on this. The solid waste management, liquid waste management is also a serious challenge. But what I am going to talk is the increasing temperature, changing the rainfall pattern, etc., etc. When we talk about the climate change, we think it is a warming. And warming, largely we concentrated our discussion on warming of the land. But I will largely speak here on the warming of the sea, that is sea surface temperature, how it will in future impact the Kolkata. And I was also working with the century scale rainfall pattern of the Bengal Delta. And what I find that not that total rainfall has changed. What has changed? The variability has changed. There is a tendency of sometimes delayed onset of the monsoon, and sometimes there is a tendency of short duration intense rainfall leading to a disaster. You can remember what happened last year on 4th of October in North Bengal and Sikkim area. Disaster, quote unquote, is a weak expression what happened thereon. But if you look at the rainfall of the Bengal Delta, it is extremely skewed. It is concentrated largely in July, August, September. But when I worked on century scale pattern, I find something. This is the variability. You can see the two line. The blue line is the 7 days moving average of 61 to 1990. I was comparing this with the subsequent 3 decades, 1991 to 2020. So I will be happy to know that my collaborator in this research had been Indian Statistical Institute. And what I find that you look at the red line. Red line, there are series of peak and variability. Each peak means the unusually concentrated rainfall leading to a disaster, or rainfall is partitioned into 3 major parts. One is evaporation. Other and third, infiltration is not readily allowed. যেখান থেকে আপনি জলটা ইনফিল্ট্রেট করবে, it is not allowed. So it is more runoff. In the first part of the monsoon in southern Bengal, it is more and more infiltration because land at that point of are largely dry. But Kolkata is an exception; it is largely built up. Then in the second part of the monsoon, if there is a concentrated rainfall, there will be less infiltration and more runoff. Can you remember what happened on 23rd of September last year? There was a rainfall of about 300 millimeter, nearly 300 millimeter in parts of Kolkata, and entire Kolkata was submerged. And I also remember some of the major disasters in Kolkata. We don't have data of the satellite-based data of the 1978. There was a disastrous waterlogging in Kolkata on, if my memory serves me right, it was 26-27 September. Followed by another in 2000, 17, 18, 19 September. Look at this. Entire South Bengal was submerged. We have 2 types of submergence. One is freshwater flood carried by the river. Other is coastal submergence. The freshwater has many ecological roles. It is a sediment dispersal mechanism. It is a renewed fertility. It renews the fertility. It increases the productivity. But the coastal in Kolkata. Coastline, we have a problem in Kolkata. Kolkata is located about 150 kilometers inland from the sea. And in this location, it is tide dominated. It is within the tidal regime of the tide tends to go up. As I look at the tidal amplification is increasing, sir. It is at the rate of about, when I looked at the satellite-based altimetry, because we don't have too many stations excepting Shagor. We have one tidal station at Garden Reach, but we don't have any tidal stations on interior of the Sundarban. So we rely on satellite-based altimetry. The tidal amplification as reaches 18 millimeter per year in southwest Sundarban. But thus, we have another problem. Since this is a newly built delta, it is slowly subsiding. It is consolidating. So, in parts of Sundarban, and thus many parts are rapidly sinking. We have another problem, sir. Post-independence era witnessed large-scale dam building. And about the river. Second, so whenever you are longitudinally fragmenting this river, যখন আপনি ড্যাম বিল্ড করছেন, you are longitudinally fragmenting this river, meaning that sediment behind. So because when sediment free, the stability Farakka point, Ganga carried about 800 million tons of sediment load. Now, 77 million tons. And what is largely sediment free. So, this এটা চলে গেল, একটু হেল্প করবে কেউ? এক মিনিট। নিচের দিকে Hey, look at this. Sir, I went beyond the land. I was looking at the sea surface temperature increase. The upper red line is the Bay of Bengal. The lower blue line is the average of the global average. You can see how the coastline of, sea surface temperature of the Bay of Bengal is increasing at a higher rate than what we notice at other part of the world. Sea surface temperature increase, there is something called thermal expansion of water. মানে শুধু যে বরফ গলা জলে সমুদ্র উঁচু হচ্ছে তাই নয়, গরম 0.16 degree to 0.19 degree centigrade per decade. This is globally highest. And when I was looking at the cyclonic storm history, look at this. I have recorded 16 tropical cyclones in last 10 years or so. Since 2009. 16 tropical cyclone, সবগুলো সুন্দরবনের উপর আসেনি, কিন্তু অনেকগুলো এসছে। Some of the global the major cyclones, when I looked at it, they say if the sea surface temperature increases more than 26.65 degrees centigrade, there is a possibility of cyclone. And we have the delta at the face of sea. And the Sundarban having a population, a sinking delta, having a population of about nearly 5 million. So the future of Kolkata, I'm worried because the sea level is rising, the land is sinking, and we have experience of cyclone in Kolkata in 1737. Claiming about 3 lakhs lives. Another cyclone of 1864 claimed about 60,000 people, life of 60. There may be many more in future. So disaster management in this country is largely reactive. We started to work when it happens, but it must be proactive. And I also believe that all major research institutes must be involved in the planning processes. It is not the entire capability of the government departments to handle the issue. The research institute who can work on oceanography, who can work on earth science and other issues, they should be involved. So I strongly believe that we need a switch over from so far the preparedness driven, what we called approach of the government, to a proactive preparedness driven approach. I can't change the landform of Kolkata. I can't change its height above mean sea level. I can't locally change the sea surface temperature of the Bay of Bengal, which triggers the cyclones. But what I can do, I can prepare, I can remain more and more what we call effectively preparing and starting to create awareness so that we can save the people from forthcoming disasters. With these few words, I stop here because my clock says that you should stop now. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Sir, এটা একটু লাস্টে দেখিনি। I was looking at the tide gauge data of the Garden Reach, Kolkata. It is also high trend is about 8 millimeter per year. 8 millimeter per year হয়ে যদি গার্ডেন রিচের টাইড উঠতে থাকে, ইউ জাস্ট ইমাজিন 50 years ডাউন দ্য লাইন যখন কলকাতা 24 ঘন্টায় 2 বার করে ডুবে যাবে। So this is all archival data kept at the port trust. খাতাগুলো সব একদম নষ্ট হয়ে যাওয়ার উপক্রম। আমি অনেক কষ্টে একটা উদ্ধার করে একটা আপনাদের জন্য করে নিয়ে এসেছিলাম to show you how dangerously we are living. Thank you all for your patience.
Sir, thank you very much. The excellent talk. And as this particular national workshop on urban environment of Kolkata, without knowing the history, the Sutanoti, Govindpur and Kolkata, and also the present situation, sir was talking about the disaster, and Professor Dhar Chakraborty is again another architect of the Shandai framework, where the preactive to proactiveness is also there. So thank you very much, sir, for excellent talk and excellent keynote address of this national workshop on urban environment of Kolkata problem and prospects. Now it's time to hear from Professor Pavitra Bonik. The presidential address will be delivered by Professor Pavitra Bonik, Head, School of Environment and Disaster Management, and also the Dean, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Narendrapur campus. So, Professor Bonik, please.
Good morning to all. It is a customary to being a head of the environment, School of Environment and Disaster Management, to welcome you all, including the dignitaries, those who are in the dais, and the students and other speakers and resource persons. Actually, I am very much nervous about the terminology, this presidential talk. I don't know what does it mean. So it is very much unclear to me that what to say about this presidential talk. So I think during these 2 days, you will listen so many things which you have learned from our beloved, Professor Dr. Dhar Chakraborty, the architect of this. So I don't like to repeat all those things. I know that you will enrich yourself through listening those useful and fruitful talks. So let me say something different. So what is different? I would like to speak something about the agriculture pollution. Now you may ask that this is the topic of urban environment. Why from you are bringing this agricultural problem or agriculture pollution? Let me say that the eastern Kolkata entirely covered by Dhapa area, and whatever we are consuming nowadays, vegetables particularly, cereals in some cases, particularly the maize, those are produced in the Dhapa areas. That is the eastern Kolkata areas. And the surrounding areas of Kolkata, they are also producing. Even this Narendrapur, Sonarpur areas also, they are producing this agriculture. Now, what is the problem if they produce agriculture in urban areas, in the peripheral areas of Sundarban, of Kolkata? Main problem. We did a work inspiring by a group of researchers from Bangalore. They also did that type of work earlier. That we have collected some of the vegetables, some of the fruits which is available in the market nearby and which is being produced in Dhapa areas and the surrounding areas, and to analyze the heavy metals there. Okay, you know that nowadays আমরা সাধারণত আমাদের বাচ্চাদের বলি যে তোমরা বেশি করে ভেজিটেবলস খাও, শাক খাও, লাল শাক, red spinach or amaranth, and you will be surprised to know that we are giving them the poison. Yes, I am saying poison. Huge amount of cadmium, chromium, nickel, zinc. Zinc is useful in a limited, quantities. If you intake huge amount of zinc, that will hamper your metabolic activities of human being. So, this type of agricultural system or whatever the pesticide or fertilizer we are using in the Dhapa areas or surrounding areas for growing vegetables, they do not follow any norms, and there is no restriction from the government levels or the from institutional levels to monitor the agriculture practices. Why it is needed? We, being the student of agriculture, I am an agriculturist. So being a student of agriculture, we know that if we spray the pesticide, we cannot harvest the produce or we cannot sell the produce within 10 to 15 days. We have to give it 10 to 15 days to harvest and to sell. But in case of brinjal or some other vegetables, or even the okra, that is the bindi, every day they are spraying the pesticides. So this is very, very, dangerous situation where we are now living. So this is our or my submission that we have to produce some of the white paper regarding this type of pollutions, and the government of West Bengal or government of national government of India should develop some of the white paper, some of the policy regarding the use of pesticide, regarding the use of fertilizers, etc. So that the pollution is not only in the air, pollution is also affected us, our health. All the degenerative diseases, including the cancers, is the resultant of intaking those pollutant fruits. So I think during these 2 days, you will listen huge amount of, huge quantities of, useful lectures, sparkling lectures, so that you will enrich yourself. And particularly, I think it will be better if we design something, the climate change and global warming, in one of the part of this seminar, of this national seminar. Why? One session is there. Okay, that's good. So, because during this about this climate change and global warming, there is some division of task. Being a part of the organization, we can organize that type of seminars, that is called the awareness seminar, so that you can go somewhere else and you can also aware the people. We should not depend on the government or on the policy related matters. We should take the responsibility. We should take the why that type of thing is happening, why that type of pollutions is happening in our surrounding years. And another word, which is our Maharaji has told, that not only the environmental pollution, soil pollution, etc., the pollution of values, that is also very important. As you are here in an institute which is with the hallowed name of Swami Vivekananda, so you should also think about that. With these few words, I would like to say thank you all. Thank you for coming and participating in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Bonik, for raising a very pertinent issue, that is the metal pollution. We all are concerned about that, because whatever we are consuming, whether any metal are there or not, we do not know. So thank you very much. And this is also not that it is producing in the village area; it is nearby our city only, the Dhapa. So these issues is very pertinent for this workshop also. So thank you very much for raising this issue. We are running little behind of the schedule. So without much delay, may I request one of the collaborator of this particular national workshop, Professor Devojit Dotto, Head Department of Geography, Jadavpur University, to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, all the guests, learned faculty members, and dear students and the other participants, a very good morning to you all. As we conclude this enlightening inaugural session, I stand before you with a deep sense of gratitude to move the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee and all the institutions involved in this workshop. First and foremost, I am on the behalf of the organizing committee extend my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest in absence, Srimati Ognimitra Paul, Madam, the Honorable Minister for Urban Development and Municipal Affairs, Government of West Bengal, in anticipation that she will spare some valuable time to grace this occasion. Madam, your presence would set a wonderful tone for this workshop, and your inspiring words would give us much to reflect upon as we look at the changing landscape of our beloved city. We owe a special debt of gratitude to our keynote speaker, Dr. Kollan Rudra sir, eminent environmentalist and former chairman, West Bengal Pollution Control Board. Thank you, sir, for an incredibly thought-provoking address. By highlighting both the critical problems and the sustainable prospects, if there is any, of Kolkata's urban environment, you have perfectly mapped out the trajectory for the technical sessions to follow. On behalf of the organizing committee, we express our sincere thanks to the respected chair, come president of the session, Dr. Pavitra Bonik, although I doubted about the term, but that's why I'm keeping chair as come president. Okay, because I am also in doubt. For his continuous support and encouragement and gracefully chairing the inaugural session. We are also thankful to respected Brahmachari Videsha Chaitanya for gracing this occasion with your soulful words and permitting us to conduct the workshop here in Narendrapur. We convey our sincere thanks to all the faculty members, administrative authorities, and research scholars of the School of Environment and Disaster Management, RKMVD, the Department of Geography, Jadavpur University, and the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, for their unwavering support, constant encouragement, and logistical assistance, which made the workshop possible. And I personally thank Professor P.G. Dhar Chakraborty for his tireless efforts. It was a pleasure to work with you, sir, because whenever we were very slow, you actually pushed us and made this workshop possible. So what we are seeing today just because of his perseverance. And last but not the least, I wholeheartedly thank all the learned resource persons and participants for their eagerness and commitment to establish, to contribute and make the workshop a grand success. With this, I take the privilege of formally closing this inaugural ceremony of the workshop and pave the way for the successive technical sessions to follow. I am confident that with all of your active cooperation and meaningful contributions, this workshop will deliver a long-lasting impact and scientific outputs towards attaining a sustainable and livable Kolkata in the coming years. Thank you again for your participation. Thank you very much.
Those who propose the vote of thanks himself is not getting the thanks. So it's my duty to express our gratitude and thanks to Dr. Devajit Datto for his excellent vote of thanks. Before closing this inaugural session, may I take one opportunity? The other than Professor Rudra, other guests, all are our own. So our student will felicitate. Not, it is not the felicitation. This is only the love and gratitude to give them some plant sampling. So our student will give Professor P.G. Dhar Chakraborty, Brahmachari Vedesha Chaitanya, Professor Bonik, and Professor Devajit Datto. So with this, we will conclude our inaugural session. Then we will proceed for our proceed for our next technical session. Because we are 20 minutes behind the schedule. Okay. So we'll start our next session. Next session will be taken up by our student Monoseta. Monoseta, please come and continue.
Refreshment in that room, please. All the respected faculty members are requested to have the refreshments arranged outside room.
No refreshment break. We'll start it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So, with the conclusion of the inaugural session, we now proceed to the technical session of the seminar. It's my privilege to welcome you all to the technical session 1, centered on the theme Pattern and Trend of Spatial and Demographic Growth of Kolkata and its Impact on Environment. The session will be chaired by Honorable Professor Dr. P.G. Dhar Chakraborty, sir. He's a retired IS officer with an exceptionally distinguished career spanning the state, national, and international level. So, I will request him to take over the dais, and we have our distinguished speaker for the session, respected Dr. Madhumita Roy, ma'am, Professor, Department of Architecture and Jadavpur University. I would request our respectful chair of the session to felicitate her. Thank you, sir. We now look forward to an insightful and enriching session. I respectfully request our Honorable Professor P.J. Dhar Chakraborty, sir, to take over the proceedings and guide us through the technical session 1.
So as I said, we have structured the workshop in 8 technical sessions. So this is the first technical session. So each technical session we have 2 speakers. In one session we have 5 speakers. So in this session we have 2 speakers. We have Dr. Madhumita Roy. She is the professor, Department of Architecture, Jadavpur University. We had Dr. Sovanik Roy, professor, Department of Architecture and Planning in Indian Institute of IEST, Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur. So Dr. Sovanik Roy had confirmed, but unfortunately due to some emergency, he is not able to come. So we have only one speaker. So let me introduce the topics. Although I worked in the Indian Administrative Service, but I had an opportunity to work in the urban development sector for about a decade. I worked as an administrator of the municipal corporation. I worked as a vice chairman of the development authority. I worked as a principal secretary urban development in the state, and also I worked as a joint secretary urban development department in the government of India. So I had an opportunity to be associated with some of the universities like in MIT and also Erasmus University in Netherlands as a visiting fellow. So based on my experience on that and my city where I was born, Kolkata. So, Kolkata is a lovely city and wonderful city. And the city is not a planned city. It is an organic city. It has grown organically without planning. Some parts of city like in Salt Lake, New Town, these are 2 planned cities. Salt Lake was planned by Yugoslavian town planner, and New Town has been planned. But the rest of the city are not planned. The core area of the Kolkata city, what is called KMC area, Kolkata Municipal Corporation, it is about 206 square kilometer area. It is inhabited by about 4.5 million people, 45 lakh people. And that part of the Kolkata, it is not growing. It has stabilized. Population has stabilized over the decades. But we have the Greater Calcutta metropolitan area, which is about 1800 square kilometer, which includes 6 districts of West Bengal: Kolkata, North 24 Pargana, South 24 Pargana, Howrah, Hooghly, Nadia, parts of Nadia. It has 4 municipal corporations: Kolkata Municipal Corporation, Howrah, Chandannagar, and Bidhannagar. It has 37 municipalities in these 6 districts. It has a population about roughly about 21 million people. 21, and this part of this Greater Kolkata, it is growing. Core Kolkata is stabilized, it is not growing. Greater Kolkata is growing. So, what has been the pattern of the growth? The core Kolkata, the colonial city, the British has set up. It had its own structure. Then, after independence, the city has grown because of migration from East Pakistan, large number of population, and migration of the working people, labor class from the hinterland, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, other places, even from the northeast. So the Calcutta's population has grown, it is growing. But Calcutta was, in terms of area, it is the largest metropolitan area in India, even now. But in terms of population, Calcutta has been overtaken by Mumbai, also by Delhi. Delhi is almost like 30 million people, going to be 35 million, taking over Japan. In Delhi, in another few years, will be the largest city in terms of population globally. Will be taking over Japan, Tokyo city. So how the city has grown, at what cost of the environment? What has been the plus points? What has been minus points? So this is what we are going to discuss. So I will not take any further time. So I will hand it over to Professor Madhumita Roy. She is a distinguished architect, academician, researcher, and the former head of the Department of Architecture at Jadavpur University. She is a pioneering figure in architecture and urban development. She has served in key government institutions and was instrumental in introducing India's first online building plan approval system. She is the first recipient of AICTE Young Teacher Award in Architecture and had numerous prestigious state and central government funded research and consultancy projects, including New Town, Kolkata, Writers Building, World Bank funded cyclone shelters, etc. Over to you, Professor Madhumita Roy. Thank you. So you have 30 minutes. Increase one of these little. Please.
Second. নেই এর ভিতর নেই, তো পেন ড্রাইভটা দাও, আমি কপি করে দিয়ে রাখবো। এখন কি শো করাবো না? জাস্ট একটা জাস্ট আমি কপিটা এই সিস্টেমটা এনে আমি পেন ড্রাইভটা জাস্ট 2 মিনিট লাগবে না, আপনি জাস্ট শুরু করুন। ঠিক আছে।
Very good morning to all of you. And sometimes it is very advantageous to be the first speaker in the technical session. Sometimes it is very difficult to handle this because after the inaugural session, as you have already heard from Professor Chakraborty and Dr. Rudro, so it's such a illuminating discussion which was held in the inaugural session. Now I am little bit scared from the presentation also. What are we going to face in near future as well as a speaker? Now, as Sir has mentioned, see what I am going to present here. This is out of my experience, 35 years experience working in Kolkata, in the state, as well as with the government of India. Now, before joining university, actually, I was working with different government departments, starting from Calcutta Corporation, then Newtown, this HITCO, WB HITCO, as well as West Bengal Housing Board. And fortunately, and I had I have seen lot of milestone situations which are being actually carried out in all these institutions. So that kind of experience which I had, as well as when I joined Jadavpur University, then after joining, I became advisor and consultant to various government departments in the government of West Bengal as well as government of India, and we brought lot of projects. And some milestone projects are, as you know, redevelopment of Writers Building project and the New Township project. I was there in the New Township project since day one. So from the inception, I had been working, and I was the only architect and planner in the project. Now, this is my experience, actually, what I am going to share in this presentation. Ready? This one, yeah. Enter only enter button.
Some forward and
Oh, okay. Fine. Now, the title of this presentation is Kolkata at the Crossroads, Balancing Urban Growth and Environmental Sustainability. Now, this is itself, these two items are very contradictory in nature. As you can understand, see, urban growth means urbanization, which is an man-made introduction into any natural setup. So that way, when we are trying to balance all these things, see, environment means actually the balancing land, air, and water. So it never goes together. So what we want to do, actually, we just try to make some kind of balance so that we can breathe properly, and we can make arrangements for other species to live in this city. So this is our approach, actually. So the reality, what is there, as we can face every day. Because today also, while coming, because our chief minister will be going to some place actually in Baripur, so that's why the roads were very congested. So these are all reality. It happens anytime. And the myth, we aspire for a city which is green city. Now these things, everybody aspire from something better in future, but how far we can balance this, we don't know. Now, while talking about Kolkata's growth, we cannot talk only about Kolkata city. So we need to concentrate in the KMA region. So this is one, I have taken an example from one research paper, that is how the 52 other municipalities are actually creating some sort of stress on the city, and how radially it is also encroaching, and how radially it is expanding. So this is one, and these are the images. Actually, everybody is aware of these images. Now the red portion is the built up area, and how it is actually encroaching the overlapping with the green areas. And it is the map is actually from 91 to projected up to 2050. So you can see it will be almost, the projection is almost the coverage with the red color. So it is quite alarming. And what is happening, the vice versa situation, the greenery is being affected. The greenery is absolutely lost, and the water bodies are also lost. Now, what are the highlights of this research? That rapid built-up expansion, that is built-up expansion means from 91 it was around 22% and it is going to be, it is already, it is there 51%, 50.46%, and the greenery, the vegetation cover is being reduced from 26% to 6%. Green cover trade-off and biophilic deficit, nature-based solutions. Now, all these information are nothing new. Everybody, almost whoever is present here, we are aware that this is going to happen in our near future. Now, what is the expansion? It is sprawl, urban sprawl. Now, the built footprint is expanding faster than the population. The rate of expansion is faster than the population growth. And what we can see, this is an image from the aeroplane, and you can see it is not a planned situation, it is urban sprawl. It is being grown sporadically. And we know all these consequences, water bodies, drainage, flood vulnerability, loss of natural drainage, diminished flood buffering, groundwater stress, land subsidence risk. These are also being, and as Dr. Rudra was also mentioning about the urban heat island effect, and we are all facing all these impacts. Now, I have just mentioned here one American city because all our young generation, actually they are aspirant of going to US. So I was searching one American city which is nearly comparable to this Kolkata city in size. So Boston city is almost, it is around 232 square kilometer, but 40% of this city is actually occupied by water. But the land area is more or less similar. So here I have taken this comparison. So look at the comparison. The area is almost similar, and population data is around 4.5 million, and in this case it is not even 1 million. So the density index is 4.1 times than Kolkata. With municipal area, only the city core area. Building density, now here in this case, it is 1.7 times more in Kolkata. See the situation. Skyscraper height, the highest skyscraper is almost similar both in Boston and in Kolkata, but the density, because 24 meter actually, that is the cap of building rules. So we have mentioned it, but the average height all over Kolkata is around 14.5 meter. And in Boston, it is around, say, almost double, 30 meter, 25 meter, 30 meter. So this is what is the comparison. And the comparison, and this is the last comparison I am doing here, that is the budget, the GDP. So what it says, that our metropolitan GDP is around 150 billion, and Boston says 504 billion. And budget index is 7 times greater in Boston in comparison to Kolkata. GDP index is 3.4 times greater. And reinvestment share, the percentage which is being shared for infrastructural development of the city, that is 2 times greater in Boston city. Now, we all know comparison is not fair. That is sure. But see, Zurich is called the world's smartest city. Look at the population, 4.36, and look at the population of the Kolkata city, 67.74. Area, less. GDP, higher. Kolkata GDP is 1800 USD, and Zurich GDP is 118,000 USD per capita in energy consumption. see what is 6,000 kilowatt hour per year, and this is 647 kilowatt per year. Now, and we are aspiring for the smartest city. We are aspiring for a green city. Now look at, I have given two pictures. One picture is from the city of Zurich, and one picture is from our city. It is might be from South Kolkata. Some people, I have collected it from the internet. Now look at them. People are becoming smarter. All these teenagers, all of us are trying to be smarter every day with the application of this, with the usage of these mobile phones and internet and AI, all these things. So this is common. But the way people are becoming smarter, the rate by which the people are becoming smarter is not equivalent to our cities. It is not applicable to our cities. Cities cannot become smarter in a day or within a month or within a year. We need to work hard to make it smarter. And we need to work every day, every hour. See, these are green high rises. All the high rises are having platinum rating. But do you think really these are platinum rated energy efficient buildings? We have some hard facts. Whatever high rises I have shown in the last slide, see, these are the facts. These slum areas occupy almost 45% of the city area. We cannot ignore. We could not, because presently we are working on slums, and we could not actually assure a proper living standards to these slum areas after spending 78 years of independence. See, this is the garbage. This is the last report from CAP. I have taken this information. In 2025, Kolkata's annual greenhouse gas emission are estimated at roughly 14.8 million tons of CO2. But this is fact. These are also fact. Our canals, our rivers are dried, and not only this, I don't have the picture readily, many of the canals are covered with buildings also in many areas in the city. See, look at this. Dr. Rudra was talking about the monsoon last year. This is one picture from the last year's monsoon. How our roads are, and this is not unique in Kolkata. It is also happening because Mumbai has declared 2 days holiday for this heavy monsoon. So it is happening in all the cities. So I love this quote very much, though it was made in a different context, but I use it very frequently. We are living in a fake world which is full of appearances, where people don't want to say that I am not okay. And we are having continuously so many background conversations, whether it is right or wrong, whether we are always into flaw finding affair, find the flaw in others, not finding flaws in ours own act. We don't want to take responsibility. We are not responsible. Whatever happens, it is for you. It is by you only. Us and them. Either or, and not enough. Not enough. We are not happy with anything. We always want more. And at the same time, the irony is that all of us are actually going to be inside a bubble. We don't want to interact with others. We think that we are the best. We are the most eligible expert. We don't want to know. We don't want to listen. We don't want to hear. See, why I'm saying this? Now to have access, these are the pictures from Kolkata. And two, we always aspire for extra affair, extra built up area. Everybody is involved in this affair. Authority, they are also happy to give some extra affair for some interest. And the owners, who will be the most suffered money occupants, they also want some extra area. How this extra area comes from? It is only compromising the surrounding areas which are actually kept to ensure light and ventilation to that occupant itself. In 2009, we did an extensive study, research work in the entire Kolkata city, and we counted each and every building, the heights, and we found out this map is actually based on that research, that how Kolkata is being stressed. What is the existing affair of the city? And in some areas, we found that the affair ceiling is around 10. I think all of you are aware, you might be aware of affair. Affair is floor area ratio. It is the multiple of it is the built up area, which we get the figure which is mentioned, which is allowed by the corporation authority, and we multiply that figure by the plot area. Whatever area we are having in the our plot area, that is the multiple. So in corporation, the ceiling, FA ceiling is around 2.5, but in some areas in Kolkata city, we have almost 10, 9, 8 FA. Now, just think about the situation. What is the purpose of this rule book? Who is going to enjoy studying this rule book? Which is absolutely redundant, because the application is not at all, it is not applicable actually. If anybody, where the building is quite old, if that owner wants to reconstruct the building, the affair he is already enjoying, it is around 10. So why he is going to demolish the building and want a affair of 2.5? So these are the situations, and we wanted to intimate government that we need to change the rule book. But now it is 2027. After 20 years time also it is not done. Everything we have NBC, we have URDPFI guidelines, we have MOFCC, fire department, ECBC, and lots of rules, guidelines, everything in place. But all these rules are for what we can see about the growth above ground, what is happening because of those constructions under the ground. We are not aware, and no rule book is actually catering that. What you are causing with the long piles, because Kolkata is now going to have lots of high rises. So what is there, what damage they are creating underground, that we don't know. And there is no code which can ensure your safety in that regard. See, on the bypass actually, majority high rises are only dependent on the groundwater. There is no water supply from ensured by the corporation. Now, who builds a safer, sustainable Kolkata? The government, the technocrats, the politicians. Who thinks that we will make the city safer and sustainable? And who is responsible for what? All of them are stakeholders of this situation: government, landowners, professionals, business people, citizens. Every level actually they shares the load. Gaps in accountability. See, livability index, Kolkata is lacking behind. Why our children are leaving the city? It is not that they only want to earn lot. It is because they want to live a standard life, a healthy life, and a peaceful life, and a comfortable life. So, demand for quality living is increasing day by day. Governance in urban setting, are we exactly aware of our challenges? This city, since I was working in the Writers Building project, that time I came across a lot of what Dr. Rudra was saying also, and I had to study a lot of things that time also. See, Calcutta, what I feel that Calcutta has been developed actually based on actually facing the crisis management. Always the city is making crisis management. Nobody paid any attention towards its proper planning because the British, they wanted to secure their lifestyle within the white town, and they were never conscious about what is going to happen in the black town. So it is in the history. Nobody paid attention because planning is a continuous process. Planning cannot be done overnight. So nobody always, because in what Sir was mentioning about the cyclones, in long back when these Britishes, this East India Company people were residing inside the earlier where the GPO is there, that Fort William, the cyclone hit was severe. And all the buildings which were mostly temporary status, and those buildings were actually damaged. So then they wanted to have a permanent building which is in the form of Writers Building, the earlier form, not the present version what we can see. So we make crisis management when there is a predictable situations, but are we prepared for the unpredictability? This is one example. There are plenty of examples, but one example is this, that we want comfortable living. After COVID, we want everything sitting at home. We don't want to go to the market. And our demand, our need is being fulfilled by all these Swiggy, Blinkit, and Zomato. Now, have you ever seen a Zomato store in your neighborhood, how they are actually supplying the product within 15 minutes or 10 minutes? Now, there are dark stores. Now, what are these dark stores? Now, all the residential buildings which are being approved by the corporation, these buildings are given on rent, and these dark stores are forming, and they are actually stacking all the products inside the store. And if you ever visit that, I don't have the photograph right now, but if you ever get the chance to just visit inside those stores, and outside that store, the enormous road blockage which are being created by all these bikers, because they are on toes actually. Whenever the order comes, they keep on waiting there road, because all these properties are selected where the rent is low, because they want to make business. And who is giving permission to these stores? Corporation. But corporation has lot of departments. Now, which department is giving? Someone is giving the trade license to this person, and the building department has got no information about that, about the change in use. What happens when the change in use is there? You invite lot of footfall there without calculating the consequences. So this happens. And need reality rules and regulations approvals, and we create chaos and we create crisis. Rooftop, we are very much happy while visiting these rooftop restaurants. It's a great ambience. all of us, and some of the rooftop restaurants are quite costly, quite expensive. We can't afford to go there. But do you know all these rooftop restaurants are illegal? You cannot do anything, any construction on the roof. And not only that, on the roof, some of the builders, they are promoting the community centers on the roof. So you are inviting a huge footfall, because we know what happens in the community center. We have banquets, we have lot of footfall, lot of activities. So we are inviting where it should not be. There was a ban after this fire, and Kolkata Corporation again removed that ban based on certain conditions. But this is not the way. This is not the way. Do you remember the flyover which collapsed? What happens? So we were very worried about the lives under the flyover. Now, can anyone say where this waste, which was this CND waste, were dumped in the city? Because NDMA department and all the disaster management department, they worked overnight and day and night to remove the debris, because they want a working city. But where those wastes were dumped, we don't have any idea. In the city, we don't have any, lots of information we don't have. What are the facts and figures? We don't have any vision of the city. That is the most important. How do we want our city to be? We don't have the information about actual population. All the research works which are being carried out, that is based on 2011 census data. So we are not sure what is the exact population in our city. What is the existing FAIR? What research I have shown to you, that is conducted in the year 2009. At present, I don't have any idea what is the existing FAIR or FSI value. What should be our projected FSI or FAIR value? Existing resources, we don't know. Land classification data, we don't know. Existing limitations, what are our limitations? And these lack of preparedness, we miss a lot of opportunity because of this lack of preparedness. What opportunities? See, 20 years back, 25 years back, we were young teachers, and we were always taking up research programs which were initiated by the government of India based on thrust areas. That means what government of India think about, because we wanted money, we wanted funding. Based on those trust areas, we conducted our research. But later on, what I felt, we are academicians, we are researchers, we should think ahead. What will be the trust area? And we should not wait for the money. Research should be done by the scientists, by the researchers, in a based on a vision about the futuristic vision. Now, what missing situations are being done, because all these cities, all the fundings were around these, making these cities like this. Now, when the smart city program came, we could not afford that. We could not actually utilize that fund, because we were not prepared to make that funding utilizable for our city. I don't want to discuss in detail about the smart city, but these are missed opportunities because of our lack of preparedness. Yeah. Sir, yesterday you told me, Madam, just prepare something so that we can extend. Anyway, let me check how many. Oh, it's almost over. So, vision of growth from trading post to metropolis. So, this is what we want to actually. We should stress, give money, see, like as we mentioned, that Mumbai has got certain vision about their city, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai, Boston, New York, everywhere they have a vision. But what is going to happen to Kolkata? Does the stated vision as make it to become a resilient city, whether the data and the vision are matching? We need to check. Now, the most important, we need to depend on these values. We need to give quite importance about these values. Something is missing. It is not about the physical planning. It actually, all the values, equity, justice, sustainability, responsibility, it is actually coinciding with the Constitution's Article 21, that is right to live. We should think about these things. As in the morning, Dr. Chakraborty and was mentioning about how many names are we having, say City of Palaces, Dying City, and the recent addition is by our Home Minister as City of Slums in 26. So if we want to think about our city as a projection of City of Slums, then it is okay. It is okay, but we should be prepared about that also. What do we want to be, want our city to be? Now, this is the only, I was searching some picture actually. This is a very favorite series, web series, which I see. And what I found here, this is nothing. The simplicity and the teamwork. Here, not individual aspiration is being given importance. So, this is what we want. This is what we need. Will, faith, and honesty, which is completely missing in the society. Let the light in, let there be life. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor, for covering it up. You didn't make us feel the absence of Professor Sobunik. So we hardly have any time left, but still one or two questions from the audience if you have. Please, have yours. If you have any question. So thank you for your excellent presentation. You presented a very chaotic picture of Kolkata city and how we get out of this chaos and how we can make our city more livable in future. These are some of the challenges we are going to discuss in the sessions to come. So if you don't have any question, then we will close the session here and we'll go to the next session. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We extend a heartfelt thanks to respected Professor Dr. P.G. Dhar Chakraborty sir and respected speaker Dr. Madhumita Roy ma'am for their enriching contributions to the session. We now move forward to technical session 2, which addresses another critical dimension of Kolkata's environmental future. The theme of the session is Air Quality of Kolkata, Spatial Temporal Analysis with Future Projections. The session will be chaired by respected Professor Abhijit Chakraborty sir. Professor, School of Biological Sciences, Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Narendrapur. He previously served as a senior professor and head of crystallography and molecular biology division, a member of National Academy of Science. Sir has held several significant academic leadership positions, including serving as academic dean at Homi Bhabha National Institute. He has also served as editor of the Journal of Proteins and Proteomics. His pioneering research spans membrane biophysics, protein aggregations, and artificial chaperones, with particular emphasis on hemoglobin variants and spectrin interactions. I would request respected Professor Abhijit Chakraborty, sir, the distinguished chair of the session, to kindly come up on the stage. Thank you, sir. I would like to introduce the session speakers. We have the first speaker, respected Dr. Anupam Deb Sarkar, Professor and Head Department of Civil Engineering, Jadavpur University. And we have our second distinguished speaker, Dr. Abhijit Chatterjee. I would request our respected speakers to come up on the dais. I would now respectfully request respected Professor Abhijit Chakraborty, sir, to felicitate our first speaker, Dr. Anupam Deb Sarkar, sir. Thank you, sir. I would again request our session chair to kindly felicitate respected Dr. Abhijit Chatterjee, sir. With that, we are ready to begin the technical session too. I now respectfully request Professor Abhijit Chakraborty, sir, to take over the proceedings and lead the session.
So, I welcome on behalf of RKM Very to all the participants of this conference, the workshop. Now, the issue of this air quality of Kolkata is, I mean, the problem is so well known, you can hear from anything and anybody and everybody, you know, what are the problems. But very obviously, it's like morning we heard from Dr. Kullan Rudro about the problems and some of the critical angles of the problems. But what we need is a solution. And so my comment will be, let us all work towards a probable solution. And for the solution, what I could gather from Kullanda's talk and Professor Dhar Chakraborty's initial remarks, that's the key word should be preparedness. Now, this preparedness is also a term that actually, very frankly speaking, I have first come across from Professor Dhar Chakraborty only. And very obviously, we all are, very much well aware, and we really appreciate the importance of disaster management and who can avoid environment. That's a primary cause, environment. Now, so it's our environment. If we are callous enough, then we face the consequence, and if we are not, and if we can pull up our socks and try to do things, we will probably. Now, so let us begin the air quality session with the first speaker being. So the first speaker is Professor Anupam Deb Sarkar. He's the head of the Civil Engineering Department of Jadavpur University, and he speaks on air quality issues of the Kolkata city. Actually, this session. And the second speaker is my namesake, and his only thing is he will be speaking before lunch, but I'm sure we all will appreciate that he can hold us. He'll be able to hold us for a late lunch. But anyway, I can see 50 minutes. So if you are within 25, I'll be very happy. Please.
এটা কি হাতে দেওয়া যাবে নাকি লাগবে এই আপ ডাউন কি করে দেবেন ঠিক আছে এটা হাতে নেওয়া যাবে Good afternoon, respected chairman of this session, respected dignitaries present here today, and dear students and participants of this workshop. The subject matter of this particular session is air quality of Kolkata city. We have to discuss for coming few hours on this particular topic. Air quality issues of Kolkata city. I will be delivering this talk, and it is my privilege to be present here to deliver this talk. Air pollution, we can treat this particular problem as a double-edged weapon. It can be responsible for bringing health impact as well as some climate impact also. The tiny invisible particles present in the atmosphere, they are found to be penetrating into deep portion of the lungs and blood streams and bodies. And these pollutants are found to be responsible for nearly 1/3 of deaths from stroke, from chronic respiratory disease and lung cancer, 1/4 of deaths from heart attack. And there is another pollutant which is relatively neglected, but it can also produce some adverse health consequences. That is ground level ozone. It can be produced from the interaction of many different pollutants in the presence of sunlight, and it can cause also asthma and chronic respiratory illnesses. Besides this, in recent period, we have been talking a lot on the climate impact of air pollutants, particularly of the short-lived climate pollutants, SLCPs, like methane, black carbon, tropospheric ozone, and hydrofluorocarbons. They are linked not only with the health effect, but also with near-term warming of the planet. No. I would like to go through very interesting feature in regard to air pollution impacts. You can find that we can cite a particular report, that is State of Global Air Report, published by WHO in the year 2024, where air pollution has been identified as second leading health risk factor for death, which globally trails only high blood pressure. It was reported by WHO and as well as UNICEF that in the year 2024, 7.4 million deaths in the world were attributable to the combined effects of ambient as well as indoor air pollution. You can find the presentation here, graphical presentation here, bar diagram here, where you can find first 5 diseases: ischemic heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lower respiratory infections, and lung cancer. They are found to be very closely associated with air pollution. It is also reported that for child under the age of 5, almost 700,000 child suffered from untimely death during this particular year. In the absence of aggressive intervention, premature death is predicted to be increased by the amount of 50% by 2050. Now, in terms of air quality parameters, World Health Organization, they basically focuses on 5 health-related air pollutants like fine particulate matter, respirable particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and ozone. In our country, we are particularly concerned about the problem associated with fine particulate matter, respirable particulate matter, and nitrogen dioxide. Although there was a time when sulfur dioxide was also treated as a very critical air quality parameter. In the year 2018, World Health Organization published a very significant database on global ambient air quality, where they reported that 97% of the cities in low and middle income countries having population more than 100,000 do not meet WHO air quality guidelines. In the case of high income country, that was decreased to 49%. You can find out from this particular map, you can find the PM 2.5 level. Particularly affected areas are Indian subcontinent and African countries, those who are low income countries. In this particular map, you can find the deaths attributable to pollution per 100,000 people. You can also find that we basically belong to that critical area where death per 100,000 people is more or less 151 to 316 per year. Now, what will happen if we have ambient air quality suffering from particulate matter? If we have for every 10 microgram increase in ambient PM10 level, it can cause increase in overall mortality from 0.5 to 1%, cardiovascular mortality to the extent of 1.4%, respiratory mortality 3.4%, hospitalization for respiratory diseases 0.8%, and hospitalization for asthma 1.9%. It has been reported by a study published in the year 2000. If we go through the scenario prevalent in our country, you can find that Indo-Gangetic regions are mostly affected by decreased air quality, and our state, West Bengal, along with the adjacent states like Orissa, Jharkhand, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, they are subjected to the areas which are treated as highly polluted areas. I'd like to cite another important study in this regard. This study was conducted by Energy Policy Institute at the University of Chicago on the air pollution's impact on life expectancy. As you all know that our country is unfortunately world's second most polluted country, with 1.3 billion people living in the areas where PM 2.5 level exceeds the WHO limit, which is very stringent, that is 5 microgram per meter cube. More than 63% of the population live in the areas that exceed national air quality standard of 40 microgram per meter cube for PM 2.5 pollutant. Air pollution is supposed to shorten the average Indian life expectancy by 5 years. And in the Indo-Gangetic plain, 510 million residents, that is 40% of Indian population, they are expected to lose their 7.6 years of life expectancy. So this is very alarming feature in regard to life expectancy. And what is the economical aspect of this particular problem? There is ambient air pollution will alone may cost India more than 0.5 trillion of US dollar. Now, with this understanding as a background, we can go through the Kolkata's air pollution scenario. We can have a very quick look. Kolkata is considered to be the second populated and as well as polluted city among the metro cities in our country after Delhi, where vehicular emissions, emissions from construction sector, road dust resuspension, industrial emissions, and transboundary pollution, they are continue to pollute the city air. This situation is particularly severe during winter months during the period of middle of October to middle of March, when typical weather conditions like low wind speed, temperature inversion, they will entrap the pollutants in the lower level of the atmosphere. Recent analysis on air quality data shows that ambient air quality index of Kolkata will remain very poor or severe category for about 18 to 20 days in the winter. Two major air quality parameters which are considered in our state of West Bengal as well as for the city of Kolkata is PM 2.5 and PM 10 that have been listed as non-attainment pollutant in NGT order and which exceeds the national ambient air quality standards for Kolkata. So we are particularly bothered about the problem associated with PM 10 and PM 2.5. Now, as per the latest WHO ranking of the cities by air pollution, Kolkata ranks 77 among a total of 1,100 cities, and it features among 100 most polluted cities in the world, ranking only below Delhi among the Indian metros. It is a very significant fact that air pollution is high in Kolkata despite the city's relatively low rates of car ownership compared to other large cities. And as per the recent WPCB report, the annual average of PM10 and PM2.5 were found to be 91 and 51 microgram per meter cube in Kolkata during 2025. This is about 15 to 20% less compared to the statistics published in the year 2017, but still we are way over the respective national limits. Now, how we are likely to get affected? You can find that as reported by the University of Chicago study, that for Kolkata city, the life expectancy is reduced by 6 years and 1.85 lakh premature deaths occurred in the city of Kolkata between 2011 and 2019. You can find the increase in premature deaths from 2005 to 2018 for different cities of our country. We are supposed to abide by these national ambient air quality standards, and if we compare these standards with WHO standard, that is very stringent, and we are yet to abide by this particular WHO standard. And in terms of air quality index, for most of the time period over the year, we can find that the air quality index is varying from 50 to 100, that is in the moderate zone. Although in monsoon season it can remain in the good region, that is from 0 to 50 region. But unfortunately during winter months it can exceed the 100 value, and it can be within 150 to 200 also, implying unhealthy air quality condition. Now, when we'll be talking about fundamentals of air quality management, what are the steps that are likely to be followed for good quality of air quality management? We have to first of all identify the critical pollutants and their sources. We have to delineate the air quality standards likely to be followed. Then we have to set up the air quality monitoring network, and we have to go for preparation of emission inventory. Then once the emission inventory is prepared, we can go for source prioritization. We have to go for then delineation of control strategies, and development of a proper decision support system is considered to be last but very important step in regard to air quality management. Now, a source apportionment study has been conducted for last couple of years. We have actually two such very important studies published in a WBPCB as WBPCB document. one study was conducted and that was published in the year 2019. That was conducted by National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NERI. And the second one was carried out and was published by TERI, the Energy Research Institute, in the year 2025. Now you can find from from this particular figure, from this pie chart, you can find in terms of PM10, road dust contributes 57% of PM10, with the next being the industry 5.97 and household activities 13.33%. But in terms of PM 2.5, you can find road dust comprises only 24.75%, but the household activities nearly 28%, and transportation exhaust nearly 24%. Now, if we have a very quick look of the major sources of air pollution in Kolkata, and we can draw a comparison between the 2015 and 2024, that vehicular exhaust, it was in the year 2015, it contributed 42%, whereas it was reduced to 24% as per 2024 data. And you can go through the mass of PM 2.5 emitted per year in billion kg. That was astonishingly high, 700 billion kg per year. Construction and road dust, it increased from 12% to 26%. Waste burning from 10% to 14%. And coal and firewood burning from 22%, it is reduced to 20%. Whereas industrial sector more or less contributed same, that is from 8 to 6% of the total PM 2.5 load. So we can identify that in recent period, vehicular exhaust, construction dust, and coal and firewood burning, they are the three major contributors to PM 2.5 level in our city of Kolkata. This particular data is relatively old, but this is also very alarming one, that is benzoalpha-pyrene, which is considered to be a carcinogenic pollutant. The standard is, as per National Ambient Air Quality Standard, is 1 nanogram per meter cube, but it exceeded in most of the occasions over the monitoring period the limit of 1 nanogram per meter cube. This is the air quality trends over the period, was a decadal data, that is 2008 to 2018. You can find the scenario, but it is a matter of satisfaction for us. For recent years, 2024 and 2025, we have observed that it varied from 50 to 60 microgram per meter cube over the period. So there has been marked improvement over the period in terms of PM10 level. It is nearly 90 microgram per meter cube, and in terms of PM 2.5, it varies from 50 to 60 microgram per meter cube. It also implies marked improvement in terms of PM 2.5 level. So you can find a variation also over the period of 1998 and 2016. And as I have mentioned that in recent period, there has been a declining trend, which implied implementation of a pollution control strategy in an effective manner. Nitrogen dioxide, over a couple of years, we can find it has been reducing, and the trend is satisfactory for us that NO2 level is getting gradually decreased. So we need to go through some very important aspects of air quality management, particularly in terms of vehicular pollution. The major problem is weak emission standards. Although presently we are following Euro 6 standard, and phase 2 of Euro 6 standard has been implemented since 2025, but we are yet to satisfy the vehicular emission standard. And the major problem is that in our Kolkata city, we have registered vehicles nearly 15 lakh. And out of this, nearly 1.5 lakh is old vehicles, that is more than 15 years old. And a study was conducted by Professor Sundar Bhaduri of University of Kolkata in the year 2013, as opposed to national trend, where she established that 65% of new cars in Kolkata are diesel driven, and diesel constitute 45% of total oil consumption of by car users. And interestingly, 99% of commercial vehicles in Kolkata are found to be diesel driven. And as per WHO, International Agency on Cancer Research, reclassified diesel emissions as class 1 carcinogen, same class as tobacco for its strong link with lung cancer. So Kolkata city is being considered as diesel capital of the country. Two things we want to highlight. That is, one is study conducted on the forest cover in the past decade. Over the year 2011 to 2021, we have lost 30% of forest cover during this period. And you can find the depleting forest cover scenario, which is really alarming for Kolkata city, where cities like Delhi, Mumbai, they have observed significant increase in the percentage of forest cover. Now, we have taken action. We have followed the first generation program satisfactorily, and West Bengal Pollution Control Board, they have undertaken two major improved version of the action plan. One is called Comprehensive Air Quality Action Plan, which is basically a multi-sectoral roadmap where certain efforts has been made on transport sector, industry sector, dust control, and waste management, particularly in terms of banning and phasing out of commercial vehicle older than 15 years, transitioning to cleaner fuels, that is implementation of Bharat Stage 6, in terms of industry, regulating the fuel quality by enforcing a shift from coal to clean fuel in the small scale units, and shuttering vintage and inefficient power plants like CESC, new Kasipur facility. In terms of dust control, enforcing mandatory containment measures as construction and demolition sites, and conducting periodic mechanized road sweeping, utilizing water sprinkling along with high traffic corridors. And in terms of refuse burning, strict provisions on the burning of biomass, municipal solid waste, and banning the firecrackers. And in regard to the graded response action plan, this is very interesting fact. It was introduced in the year 2022. That is basically a software-driven multi-agency alert system launched by West Bengal government to combat winter air pollution, targeting cities like Kolkata and 5 other non-attainment cities, Howrah, Barakpur, Holdia, Asansol, and Raniganj, where the entire plan has been structured into 4 progressive stages. Stage 1 for poor air quality 201 to 300, stage 2 very poor air quality index 301 to 400, and stage 3 severe air quality index 401 to 450, whereas stage 4 for severe plus AQI greater than 450. So we have considered 4 different stages of air quality, ambient air quality, and accordingly we have developed a plan based on the scenario. So these are some wish list which are supposed to be abided by in near future, and it has been implemented already to some extent. You can find where I have mentioned all these things. So the clean air is basically our right given by Constitution of India. We can have 4 different articles: Article 21, Article 39, Article 47, and Article 48, where the right to wholesome environment has been established. So we hope that in near future, the declining trend of major air quality parameters will continue, and we will be able to meet up the standards as depicted under National Ambient Air Quality Standard very soon. With this, I conclude my discussion on the overall air quality issues of the city of Kolkata. Thank you, sir.
University closed. You can shout.
Yeah, I can.
It would be odd. So thank you, Professor Dev Sarkar, for this wonderful talk. I just have one query where you have shown one thing that the comparison between 2015 and 2024, the share of the pollutant coming from different sources. And there we have seen that the contribution from the industrial sector has reduced from 8% to 6%. So is it because of the stringent government actions or an overall trend of deindustrialization or the lack of industrial growth in our city?
That is very difficult to answer, that whether this is a policy of a outcome of policy of industrialization of our government or not. But the interesting factor is that in a recent period, for more than I think 1 decade, that the permission for new industries within the KMC area, it has been actually prohibited. So that's why gradually we are finding some improvement over the air quality status as contributed by industrial sector. But that cannot be attributed to the overall industrial policy of the government, I think. That would be too early to say.
If I remember correctly, Professor Dev Sarkar did not make a comment on 8 and 6. He did not say 6 is reduced or 8. He said, if I remember, am I right? Yeah. So anyway, it is 8 to 6. So it's almost same. That would I would. So, but it has been a great advertisement for Professor Kollan Rudro, right? It's all parameters going down.
Actually,
Good.
That Terry said missed one issue. Terry missed one major issue, and I also discussed with AG. The pollution does not recognize the administrative boundary of Kolkata. The transboundary pollution contributes maybe 40% or even more. That has not been properly recognized in this study.
It was a study conducted by Niri, sir.
I know. I was one of the.
Yes, sir.
I was dealing the project. Issue is that when there was complete lockdown, even at a point of time, the PM 2.5 did not reduce to the level of about 50% or so. At that point of time, we started to work, and it is by the experts of the IIT Delhi. They work with us and they advise that it is largely the transboundary pollution that is being carried into this city. Regarding the question he has arrived, yes, we don't allow, or rather we did not allow the red category industry within the periphery of Kolkata. That might have one major impact on the. And one major issue I would like to, whatever he has said up to 18, the data, that is previous to the National Clean Air Program. National Clean Air Program started in 2019, and therefrom we achieved some kind of improvement in the air quality of the Kolkata.
That I have not shown in the graphical presentation, but I mentioned, sir,
yes,
that there has been marked improvement in the air quality in terms of PM10 and PM2.5 for last couple of years. That is after the implementation of NCAP.
Yes.
And there was a report that black carbon in Calcutta's atmosphere is the
Right person.
is increasing, because of the burning in peripheral region. So the regional set of context cannot be,
Yes, sir.
has to be understood.
Yes, as Professor Rudro mentioned that long-range transport is one of the major contributors to the air quality of the Kolkata city.
So I think every good thing has to end. So let us all thank Professor Dev Sarkar for a wonderful lecture. And now I invite Professor, my namesake, Professor Abhijit Chatterjee. He is Chatterjee, okay, and myself is Chakraborty. So he speaks on the toxicity issues, the toxicity of aerosols over the city of Kolkata.
Chatterjee.
So Abhijit, 25 minutes.
ওই চ্যাটার্জি লেখা আছে এইটা তো স্যার ঠিক আছে কোনটা কাজ করছে দুটোই কাজ করছে প্রাথমিক বলবেন না আপনি দাঁড়িয়ে বলতে ঠিক আছে দাঁড়িয়ে বলো
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে
তারপরে কোনটা একটা ব্যাকস্পেস এটা
হ্যাঁ
ঠিক
হ্যাঁ
ঠিক
স্যার এইটা
হ্যাঁ,
আপনি
ঠিক,
এটা দিয়ে
ঠিক। নমস্কার সো very good afternoon to all of you, all the distinguished speakers, guests, my dear students. And at the outset, I just would like to thank the organizer for this beautiful workshop. So Professor Anupam Debsarkar has already set the context, outlining the global and the national scenario of air quality, including Kolkata's air quality. And I am just going to discuss a very specific issue of Kolkata's air quality that's based on the toxicity of aerosols, the tiny particulates which are present in our atmosphere. So that I'm going to talk about. It's based on one of my recent studies. So, but before that, I don't think I should spend much more time on these introductory parts of these air pollution. So, however, what we know about the air pollutions, air pollutants, especially for the students, that these are of two types, right? One is gaseous and other one is the solid particles or particulate matter. And these particulate matter, which are actually commonly called the aerosols, as we are familiar with the term PM 2.5 or PM 10, and these numbers are nothing but their diameter, right? Diameter, if we consider them as a spherical particle. It need not to be a spherical particle. That's why it's not a geometrical diameter. It's called the aerodynamic diameter. It's something else. Okay. So PM 2.5, PM 10, PM 2.5 is also called the fine particulate matter or ultra fine particulate matter. So why this is important? Every one of us know, at least since this morning, right, that what are the health effects of PM 2.5? The finer the particle size, the smaller the particle size, they can actually penetrate into our lungs and cause several disorders, health disorders, right? And there are, you can look at the right side image of the on the right side, that what are the short-term effects? For example, cough and breathing difficulty, eye irritation, throat, headache, anxiety, and what not. But there are some long-term effects: stroke, cardiovascular disease, COPD, and a recent study in 2018 that shows that type 2 diabetes is also directly associated with the air pollution, especially not PM 2.5 but PM 1, so further finer particles. Okay, so Professor Debsarkar was mentioning about one of these report for 2024, but this is the one, the latest one, the State of Global Air 2025, and you can see these are the 7 countries: Nigeria, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, Brazil, and Iran, that in last 10 to 12 years, the air pollutions, the percentage of pollution, increase of PM 2.5 pollutions, that has been increased in last 10 to 12 years for these 7 cities in the world. Okay, and this is the global scenario of PM 2.5 pollution based on the same report, State of Global Air 2025, and you can see that the South Asia and Southeast Asia, that is exceeding significantly than the World Health Organization limit, and as well as the India itself is exceeding over their own national standard called the National Ambient Air Quality Standard of PM 2.5. Okay. Well, this is one of my recent studies that I have made on the Indian scenario of PM 2.5 pollutions based on different seasons. And you can see the legend, the bar diagram here at the bottom, where the green color is the annual mean PM 2.5, which is less than the limit set by World Health Organization. And that has not been found in any of the season in anywhere in our country. Okay. But the red one, which is exceeding the National Ambient Air Quality Standard, you can see the entire country is red during winter. Okay, even in the summer, the entire Indo-Gangetic plain Okay, and the post-monsoon season. The most of the northern and the central part of India are exceeding the national ambient air quality standard. Well, at the right side, we have given a concept of airshed where all the sources are, I mean, it's not, there is no boundary of state boundary or this boundary of cities, but collectively we have come up with some common sources over some common regions in our country. And you can see that in their Indo-Gangetic plain, other than the Punjab and Haryana, that is actually influenced by the crop, the solid fuel or the biomass burning from the domestic sectors. That doesn't mean there are no other sources. These are the sources which are actually governing over the others, right? Which are actually dominating over the others. Well, so these are several sources. Like most of the central part of India are mainly influenced by the major source, that is thermal power plant, coal burning. Southern part or peninsular India is mostly by the fossil fuel, which is non-coal burning, mainly the diesel emissions. The western part of India mainly influenced by the dust, and some of the part of the northeast India and the Punjab Haryana is of course dominated by this crop residue burning. Well, so as Dr. Rudra was just mentioned a while ago, that we actually do not look into, always talk about the sources of air pollutions which is being generated within the city, within the surface of the city, but we actually forget about the transboundary contributions, the air pollutants, these fine tiny particles that can all the way get transported miles after miles from the sources to the receptor site. Okay, and why? Because of the unique geographical locations of Kolkata. Kolkata is acting actually as a kind of waste bin, because it is actually situated at the lowest part of the entire Indo-Gangetic plain, and during the most of the dry season, the prevailing wind is mainly from the westerly region. So it carries all the pollutants which are being generated over the extreme western part of the Indo-Gangetic plain and getting transported and kind of getting accumulated over this particular city, even with the northeast coast of Bay of Bengal over Sundarban mangrove ecosystem. So that's another story. So this particular study, which was made in 2021, this shows that how the black carbon which are being generated over the Indo-Gangetic plain, that is getting transported towards Kolkata, and some part of the black carbon that is getting advected towards the northeastern side, and most of them are actually getting accumulated, and where the Bay of Bengal is acting as a sink of this carbonaceous compound. Okay, so not only for the black carbon, you can also see for the other gaseous pollutants, oxides of nitrogen, mainly NO2, and oxides of carbon, mainly CO. Okay, so you can see the northeast coast of Bay of Bengal, Sundarban area, and the entire southern part of Bengal is actually getting accumulated by the transported, along with the local. Of course, there are the local sources, but there is a huge contributions of the transboundary pollution. Okay. Well, so as Dr. Rudra was mentioning, that taking into all these account and considering these air pollution, severe and the poor air quality since last decade. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of Government of India, they launched a national mission called National Clean Air Program. There is another NCAP called National Carbonaceous Aerosol Program, which was dealing only with the carbonaceous part or carbon particles. So this NCAP, now the objective is to reduce PM10 by around 40% in the year of 2026, based on the base year 2019. So earlier PM 2.5 was also included to be mitigated, but now the main target is PM10. So there were several non-attainment cities, meaning that these are the cities where air pollution is not meeting the standard of our country, okay, is not attaining. So that's why it's called the non-attainment cities, simply meaning very polluted cities. So there has been identified around 131 cities which is to be very considered to be very polluted in India, and amongst them there are 6 such cities in West Bengal: Kolkata, Howrah, Durgapur, Asansol, Haldia, and Barakpur. So for Kolkata, Howrah, and Barakpur, Bosch Institute was acting. Right now, Kolkata and Barakpur, Bosch Institute is acting as an institute of repute, and where I am actually taking care of, I'm advising the State Pollution Control Board, urban local bodies like Kolkata Municipal Corporation and Barakpur Municipality for making the policies and framing the strategies and all that. Well, so now I'm coming, before coming to the main topic, let me show you that how NCAP policy interventions change the source contribution to PM 2.5 before NCAP and after NCAP. So this is one of my recent studies in 2024. You can see that the vehicular emissions, for industrial emissions, the control of dust, and the secondary sources. Secondary source means there are several sources where the particles are not directly coming out from the sources. For example, nitrate is one of the secondary component. It's a harmful component of the PM 2.5, but it does not come out from any source directly. So for example, vehicular emission, they generate oxides of nitrogen, which is gaseous, okay, in the gaseous phase. After some photochemical oxidations and several complicated chemistry, this gaseous NO2 gets transferred to particulate nitrate. So that's why nitrate is not the primary, but a secondary component of PM 2.5 or aerosols. So all the sources, major sources, have been found to be significantly reduced after the policy interventions of NCAP, except biomass and solid waste burning. That I'm going to talk about in detail. That after several policy interventions, that we have found that biomass and solid waste burning, which is widespread in Kolkata in different small pockets, it's not a stationary sources, but there are several number of points are there in pockets are there in Kolkata, for which that was the major culprit in recent decades or recent years for worsening the air quality over Kolkata. So when we talk about the toxicity of PM 2.5, what does it mean? What does it mean if some aerosol is considered to be toxic? Actually, in the terminology, in chemistry, toxicity means how it is. It can very severely impact our human health in terms of productions of reactive oxygen species, also called ROS. Okay, because there is always a balance between these chemical balance between the reactive oxygen species and other systems of our body. But if there is a huge number of excessive amount of radicals, oxygenated radicals, for example, hydroxy radical, hydroperoxy radicals, okay, alkoxy radicals, oxygenated radicals are produced in a larger amount in our body, the entire balance gets perturbed. Okay, so when there are different sources of air pollutions, they produce huge number of ammonium, sulfate, and nitrate. Okay, these are the secondary particles. Okay, sulfate comes from sulfur dioxide, ammonium comes from ammonia, nitrate comes from nitrogen dioxide. So these compounds or components of PM 2.5 are actually redox active. Redox active means they can actually facilitates the electron transfer between the two components. Okay, and if there are huge amount of different types of metals, for example, copper, zinc, iron, mercury, manganese, magnesium, so these metals actually facilitates the electron transfer, and there are several mechanisms by which huge number of reactive reactive oxygen species is produced within our body. Now the aerosols, their capacity to produce the huge number of ROS or reactive oxygen species is called the oxidative potential or the toxicity. Okay, so we have seen, don't get into this unit, that's a different thing. The oxidative potentials is actually found to be increasing since 2016 to 2022, and after that a kind of a decrease was observed, the toxicity of aerosols in the last 5-6 years. Now this is very interesting, that we just wanted to see that how this toxicity change if the entire PM 2.5 pollutions or the load in the atmosphere that gets changed. Is it a linear? So we found that they hold a non-linear relationship. Okay, so you can see that there is within around 70 microgram per meter cube of PM 2.5, the toxicity gets more or less steady. So we call it low pollution, low toxicity, LPLT. And when the PM 2.5 exceeds around 70 microgram per meter cube, the toxicity changes or rises sharply. We call it HPVT, high pollution but vulnerable toxicity. It keeps on increasing. And when the toxicity, the PM 2.5 reaches around 135 or 140 microgram per meter cube, again the toxicity gets almost steady. So this part or these events are called very high pollutions with high toxicity. Okay, so why and how does it happen? So what we did, okay, so these are the range. If you have the PM 2.5 load in Kolkata below 75 microgram per meter cube, the toxicity is okay. If you cross 140, then the toxicity level increase along with the PM 2.5 pollutions. So why does it happen? We just segregated all the events, all the samples for these events, and actually made the source apportionment. So what we found that for the low pollution and low toxicity events, which are the major sources, more or less this biomass burning, dust, and the coal burning and other pollution significantly contributes, and they are more or less having the similar contributions. But when this vulnerable toxicity with high pollutions, when its toxicity is getting sharply increasing, the major source is biomass or the solid waste burning. And when with the high pollution level and with a very high toxicity, we found that dust particle, not the very high toxicity level almost got steady, but with a very high pollution, huge amount of PM 2.5 is actually contributed by the dust particle, but huge amount of toxicity. When toxicity, why toxicity increasing? Toxicity increasing because of very high amount of solid waste or biomass burning components. Okay, because biomass burning and solid waste components, these are actually emitting such a compound which are very much electron transfer agents or the redox active compounds. So these are some comparison between the pre-NCAP and post-NCAP. You can see the violet color bar, which is very high pollution, high toxicity. These number of events in Kolkata that got reduced after the several policy interventions by the NCAP. High pollutions and high toxic events in a year that got reduced. Well, if you see how the source changed with the toxicity before the NCAP and after the NCAP intervention, you found all the sources and their toxicity level got reduced except the solid waste burning and the biomass burning, which I was talking about. So this particular study that got published in a very popular journal is called The Science of the Total Environment, and it was also covered by the PIB, Press Information Bureau of Government of India. Well, very quickly, I'm just delving into a little bit of chemistry, that when we actually apportioned the sources, analyzed all the components of PM 2.5 with high toxicity level, we found that a huge amount of organic carbon is involved, not the elemental carbon, but organic carbon. And these organic carbon, the major component is called a very long chain compound with carbonyl group, C double bonded O, carbonyl group is called the humic-like substance or hulis. So these are several very complicated mechanisms, how these organic compounds facilitate the electron transfer. And if there is a metal on the right hand side, look, if there is some metal, transition metal or heavy metal, these organic compounds can easily get stabilized by pushing the electron towards the positively centered metal atoms. Okay, so what we did, we also studied the polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, which is very much carcinogenic in nature. A main source of polynuclear hydrocarbon is the solid waste burning and the biomass burning just after the diesel emissions. So we saw that ultrafine, x-axis is the size, y-axis is their concentration in the log scale. So ultrafine particles, mainly during winter, having a very huge amount of polynuclear hydrocarbons. Okay, so why we study that? Because this electron transfer or the oxidative potential of atmospheric aerosols is actually facilitated by some organic nitrogen base. So those who are the students of science, they know that if there is a base with some nitrogen having some lone pair of electron, which it can be easily donated, is called a base, like for example ammonia, right? So there must be some organic compound which is actually culprit, having some unprotonated nitrogenous compound of organic compound that is actually creating the problem. So we found that particular component which is actually producing huge amount of organic carbon or the huge amount of reactive oxygen species is called the methyl imidazole. It's a kind of this particular compound. Unfortunately, this site is a huge solid waste burning site and just opposite the building of West Bengal Pollution Control Board. So I took this image. So what happens, these are the mechanisms. There is a huge amount of VOCs are getting emitted from the solid waste burning. Huge amount of surface ozone is getting produced. Huge amount of SO2, huge amount of ammonia. So based on a particular relative humidity, this ammonia gets converted to ammonium. It's called aqueous phase oxidation. SO2 converted to sulfate. Ozone oxidizes VOCs to form some dicarbonates, for example, glyoxal, methyloxal. And based on all the availability of these organic compounds and the pH or acidity of the medium, this particular organic compound, methyl imidazole, is formed. And we found there are two types of events within a particular season in winter, when there is a lower amount of this particular organic and higher amount. And we have seen for these higher amount of 4-methyl imidazole, which is actually enhancing the toxicity of aerosols, is actually producing based on some condition when these are the conditions are getting fulfilled. A particular concentrations of these glyoxal, methyl glyoxal, sulfate, ammonium, relative humidity, as well as the acidity. So these are all the mechanisms by which a particular organic compound is getting produced, which is actually enhancing the toxicity of aerosols. So based on the emission inventory from the high resolutions, spatial scales over Kolkata, we actually calculated the emission strength of PM 2.5, and we took some GIS-based approach for the high resolution grid-wise data, and finally, by the relation with the PM 2.5 and toxicity, the entire Kolkata has been mapped. This is under preparation, not published yet, mapped by the toxicity map of the Kolkata. So these are the several words of the roads. If you zoom it, you can find it. What are the toxicity map of Kolkata? So the main culprit of the toxicity over the Kolkata in winter is nothing but the widespread several stationary source and different pockets of solid waste burning and the biomass burning. And the mitigation of these source is the need of the hour for the better quality of Kolkata. So that's all of my talk. Thank you. Yes, please. Is based on the ground-based measurement as well as the satellite-based remote sensing data. But most of them, because we have to undergo some chemical analysis, in-depth chemical, the molecular analysis. All this data are based on the ground-based observation. There are 7 or 8 different stations which actually represents the urban atmosphere of Kolkata. So these are the stations.
Maintained by the Bose Institute or PC?
Bose Institute.
Do you have anything in that the planned area of Salt Lake City?
Yes, one within our campus at the College Mode Sector 5.
One of my students is working on urban environment of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
So he may be contacted.
Where is he working?
On Salt Lake, Vivekananda Municipal.
Achha. So you can give my number. So yes, sure.
So wonderful talk, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering, actually, because of rapid urbanizations, so as you have already pointed out, there are lung diseases. And there are also incidences of cardiometabolic diseases and asthma, and because of allergy, And you have nicely pointed out, I think it's a great study, that you have also pointed out that organic matter in the aerosols and because of solid waste burning. I'm interested if anybody is looking at the bioaerosols, because
not in Kolkata. So I'm just it's going to be published probably in the next month, because I worked on bioaerosols over the Himalaya, not over the Kolkata, because these are the particular places where having a huge biosphere cover, like pollens and several types of bioaerosols. So that has been carried out in the high altitude stations. That is quite useful. But in Kolkata, I think the contributions of bioaerosols, the chemistry for the bioaerosol gets masked by the diesel emitted aerosols chemistry or others, biomass burning aerosols. All these are getting actually masking the contributions of bioaerosols in Kolkata in a typical urban atmosphere. So if you really want to go for a study on the bioaerosol, you have to go, beyond the urban atmosphere, rather having with a station with a large biosphere cover. Yeah, so that's why it has been, actually we have set a toxicity standard for Kolkata. That's why it was covered by several ministry. Yeah. Thank you.
If this model is going to be worked out as finalized, what might be the point of resolutions of the grid?
So that's the main culprit. That's what I want to say, that solid waste burning and biomass burning, because there are several pockets. Thousands of pockets which are widespread in Kolkata, which is actually very difficult to control. Because in winter evening, if you go around the southern part of Kolkata, so you can see there are, huge number of pockets. So you can burn. They are burning anything, like even the tires and the plastics and the any polymer products or the bio waste, everything starting from the evening in winter. So I think some manual surveillance, along with some drone-based surveillance, strict and stringent actions. These are the need of the hour. That's all. Yeah.
Just you said that only 7-8 stationary stations are there in Kolkata. But what about the spatially, it is raining, it is wind is blowing. There are so many, weather conditions are there. And your measurement is at 7 or 8 station points.
but for the entire 200 square kilometer area, is there any multi-physics simulation?
Yeah, that's right. So I actually used the emission inventory, the gridded emission inventory, a kind of 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer emission inventory. So that shows the amount of PM2.5 it's getting generated from. It's a bottom-up approach. You know the sources, you know the source strength, you know the how much. If these are the sources, how much PM2.5 will be produced in the atmosphere. Okay, so if you know the source, you can get an idea of the amount of PM2.5. If you know the amount of PM2.5, you can have the oxidative potentials. So that means the toxicity. So that is how the entire thing is mapped or the gridded. It goes to.
There is a question from student.
Yeah, please.
Sir, there are so many brick fields near the Gangetic Plains.
So many?
Brick fields, brick bhattas.
Brick fields,
they are situated in the peripheral zones. So how that influences Kolkata's air pollution?
That's a very good question, because I think Dr. Rudra is sitting here. He will also agree that most of the brick kilns are probably not recognized or registered. So that's why the actual strength of the brick kiln contribution is very difficult to, take in account into our emission inventory. Of course, because in the periphery, if you go towards if you start from this Kollani expressway, starting from Birati or something like that, from there only. So the entire, along the entire Kollani expressway, you will find, if you move towards Kollani, all the brick kilns and everything you will get in your left hand side. So these are all probably unregistered and unrecognized. So quantification from the brick kiln contributions is quite difficult in terms of the proper emission inventory. Okay, but definitely it contributes a lot.
Sir. I understand that 2 lectures has created a kind of fear psychosis. আমরা কি বিশ্বাস দিচ্ছি, কিন্তু I would like to assure that the greatest pollution control board is a nature. অনেক দিন আগে এই টক্সিসিটি নিয়ে সুকুমার রায় একটা লাইন লিখেছিলেন, মনে পড়ছে? বলে গেল ও পাড়ার সীতানাথ বন্ধ, আকাশের গায়ে নাকি টকটক গন্ধ, টকটক থাকে না হলে পরে বৃষ্টি, তখন দেখেছি চেটে একেবারে বৃষ্টি। ফলে এটা মনে রাখবেন যে নেচার টেক্স কেয়ার। ভালো থাকবেন।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
But I cannot. I have a question. Question is about the size dependence of. What is the toxicity pattern vis-a-vis PM1, PM2.5, which you did, and PM10?
That we couldn't check. We actually checked only with the cumulative PM2.5. So that would have been better. Actually, we have started, my current PhD student is working on size segregated toxicity of Kolkata.
Wow.
So
I have to go to your lab one day.
Yes,
and
why not? Please.
Talk with, and the last thing is this: the same issue could be a variant when you are seeing the wind drift.
Right,
because it's simple,
I know,
right?
but all this study which I have talked about is mainly based on the winter of Kolkata, when the pollution level gets high, and not during summer or winter.
Okay.
It's very expensive, so I have to limit my number of samples somehow.
So if there is no more burning questions, let's thank both the speakers and thank you, Abhijit.
Thank